Apparently, the word is that the ex-president, the Orange Menace, is very unhappy with the performance of one of his lawyers, Bruce Castor, the one with the meandering opening statement earlier today. Never mind, of course, that if Jesus himself had been asked to make the opening defense statement, he likely would have had a tough time because putting lipstick on a giant pig seldom, if ever, works out well. But in any case, when we look at Castor's chart, it's pretty easy to see that he may not be traversing his finest moment, and when you link his planets to Trump's, it sure doesn't seem like the legal eagle, the Orange Menace, needs to get him out of this jam. Castor's Scorpio planets are facing Saturn squares from Aquarius and opposition from Uranus and Taurus. Saturn is squaring the approximate midpoint of his Sun-Neptune conjunction, and once you see that in his birth chart it squares Mercury, you know that if it transits square to anything, it will likely mean discomfort, which I would say at least approximately correlates with what must happen when you're asked to defend the Orange Menace, defend the indefensible, defend when all the evidence points the other way. I'm going to guess he got the gig with Jupiter trining his Venus, but his astrology would have told him that's not going to balance out the Saturn-Uranus challenges for starters, as well as Pluto transiting over Saturn and squaring Mercury. And to that I have to add, the astrologer really would have called for caution if he or she took a look at how Castor lines up with Trump's planets. The Scorpio planets as a group, and Neptune quite precisely, square his rising Pluto, which isn't particularly good, since it may, even if inadvertently, highlight Trump's overpowering fascist and even demonic impulses. Castor's Mercury square Trump's 12th house Venus-Saturn conjunction isn't helpful either, and with Saturn-Jupiter opposing from the other end, it forms the kind of alignment I would deem quite unwelcome from someone trying to defend discriminality, since his planets are essentially pointing straight at it. It is possible for a square like this to work, but it would have to belong to the kind of dynamic lawyer that Castor does not appear to be. And to make matters worse, as always seems to happen to the Orange Menace, he finds helpers who are more likely to hurt him, as evidenced by Castor's Venus, triggering his Access Hollywood T-square from the House of Information and most tightly squaring his Mercury. Notice Trump's ascendant degrees exactly conjunct Castor's Uranus, which signifies a link to enable the expression of unique talents, but based on today's debacle, there wasn't much talent on display. This is what happens when you've become so radioactive, so toxic, that quality lawyers don't want to defend you, so you're left with picking someone from the bottom of the barrel. I realize I'm being really hard on poor Bruce, but I'm sorry, I have no pity whatsoever for anyone who for any reason chooses to defend the Orange Menace. I had already seen plenty of prior audio and video footage displaying what he accomplished on January 6th, and when I saw the 13-minute video today, it only served to reinforce my conviction that this man is not just the worst president in history. He is a malevolent, low-life scoundrel who deserves to go straight to prison, though unfortunately his Republican Senate friends not only won't send him there, but are actually plotting to let him off the hook. Which frankly feels cynical, shameful, and totally reprehensible.